Hello my dear students, welcome back to the 7th standard English class. In this class we will continue the chapter number 2, Gift of Chappals. I hope all of you remembered what we did in the previous class. Let me quick remind. Mridu, a young girl, she lived with her grandparents Tapi and Tata. One day, her grandmother took her to her aunt Rukumani's house to meet her three cousins, Lalli, Ravi and Meena. And when Mridu reached there, Ravi and Meena take her to the backyard where they kept small kitty by hiding from their grandmother. And Mridu also came to know the name of the cat, which was Mahendran. Now let us continue and see what will happen next in the story. Actually, his name is Mahendra Varma Pallava Punai, MP Punai for short, if you like. So now Ravi said his full name is Mahendra Varma Pallava Punai. If you find it long, you can short it out by calling him MP Punai. He's a fine breed of cat. Just look at his fur, like a lion's mane. And you know what the emblem of the ancient Pallava kings was? Don't you? He looked expectantly at Mridu. So now he's talking about his little kitten, that it comes from nice fine breed. It means from a nice race. By showing the cat's fur, he compares it to lion's mane. The lion's mane means the hair that the lion has around his neck. If you see it, it's very appealing or attractive, right? Then he continues saying about the royal emblem of ancient Pallava kings. Here the word emblem means the royal sign, okay? And the ancient means old time. The Pallava kings were one of the famous dynasties of the ancient time. So he is saying about the ancient Pallava kings and their emblem. While saying this, Ravi looked expectantly at Mridu. Here the word expectantly, it means he was hopefully looking at the Mridu that she will also say yes, you are saying it right, and she will also agree with him. But what actually happened, Mridu giggled. Here the word Mridu giggled, right? So what actually happened? She was giggled. That means she started to laughing. Think I'm joking? Well, just wait. I will show you sometime. It's clear you don't know a thing about history. Haven't been to Mahabalipuram, have you? He said mysteriously. Now, when Mridu laughed at Ravi, he got offended and said, I will show you something. You don't know anything about the history. You have not even went to Mahabalipuram, I think. Said mysteriously. Here the word mysteriously means difficult to understand or explain. Well, when our class went to Mahabalipuram, I saw a statue of his tatas, etc., etc. Now Ravi says when he went to Mahabalipuram, there he saw the statue of his tatas. Here, his means Mahendran's families, his great grandfathers. And how he's saying it was really funny. He's saying it like tatas continuously. And in the end, when he was tired, he said etc. etc. Fact is, Mahendran here is descendant from that very same ancient cat, a close relative, scientifically speaking, of none other than the lion. So Ravi might have seen some statue of the royal cat at Mahabalipuram and said Mahendran is a descendant from. Here, descendant from means a descendant of or comes from the same family. Then Ravi says another fact that Mahendran is scientifically a close relative of lion. And he's saying it correct. Yes, it is right. Because scientifically it is true, cats comes from the family of a lion. The Pallava lion, emblem of a Pallava dynasty, Ravi went on, walking around the bitterberry bush, waving a twig up and down, his eyes sparkling. Then Ravi continues saying Pallava lion, royal emblem of Pallava. because Pallava dynasty has a lion drawn in their emblem and flag. While saying this, Ravi keep on walking around that bitterberry bush, waving a twig. Here, the word twig, it means a thin branch. So he's holding a thin branch and he's waving up and down and he's running around that bitterberry bush. His eyes were sparkling. Here, the word sparkling means shining with happiness to share about the cat's history. This cat is a descendant of none other than the Mahabalipuram Rishi cat. And if I may just remind you, they worshipped cats in ancient Egypt. So here, now Ravi is saying that for sure this cat, which is Mahendran, is the descendant or the family member of Mahabalipuram Rishi cat, which is here in the picture you can see the Rishi cat of Mahabalipuram, which is Ravi is talking about. And then Ravi reminded that in the ancient time of the Egypt, people used to worship cat. And it is true that in the ancient time of Egypt, people used to worship the cat as the gods. How he loved the sound of his own voice. Meena and Mridu exchanged looks. So as Ravi was enjoying himself while talking about his cat, Meena and Mridu looked at each other. What does that have to do with anything? Mridu demanded. Then Mridu said, what does this whole story have to do with the Mahendran? How can it be related? Huh, I'm telling you, this cat is descended from the Egyptian cat god. No, goddess, Bastet. Yeah, that's it. So, now here Ravi said, I'm trying to tell you that this cat is came from the family of Egyptian goddesses, which is Bastet. Here, Bastet was an Egyptian goddess which was worshipped in the ancient Egyptian time. Okay, so the Mridu replied, so? Well, one of the descendant of that cat goddess was a stowaway in one of the Pallava ships, and his descendant was the Mahabalipuram Rishi cat, whose descendant is Ravi flourished his twig at Mahendran. MP Punai here. Oop! Eek! He shrieked, very pleased with himself. Then Ravi says one of the cat from his family, which is the Egyptian god's family, stowaway. Here the word stowaway means someone who hides himself or herself in a ship or an aircraft to travel unnoticed. So one of the cat which is belong to the ancient Greek god, that cat family member has hide himself in one of the ship of Pallava, and it has traveled to the Mahabalipuram that time, and that cat family member is Mahabalipuram Rishi cat, and Mahabalipuram Rishi cat's family member is, by saying this, the Ravi pointed the twig which he had in his hand toward Mahendran and said, Yampi Punai here, shrieked. Here, shrieked means screamed or shouted loudly. Mahendran looked up, alarmed. He had just been sharpening his claws on the edge of the coconut shell. So here, Mahendran looked up by giving a scared look, opened his claws and put on the edge of the coconut shell. But worse than Ravi's awful whoop, eek, was a screech from the window. What a weird sound. If Mridu was startled, MP Punai was frightened out of his wits. Here, worse than Ravi's scream, there was a sound of screech. Here the word screech means unpleasant sound which is hard to hear, which was coming from the window. Mridu startled. Here startled means shocked, and the cat was also frightened from the sound. Frightened means scared. Okay. Hair standing on end, he bounced up and scurried towards a bamboo tray of red chilies that had been set out to dry. Trying to hide beneath it, he tipped a few chilies over himself, Meow! He howled miserably. So when cat was frightened, its hair was standing on ends. It jumps and ran towards the bamboo tray on which the red chilies were kept to dry outside. Mahendran was trying to hide underneath it, then shouted meow miserably. Here the word miserably means badly. Okay. The creaking went on and on. What's that noise? Said Mridu. When the sound keep on coming, Mridu asked, what that noise? That's Lally learning to play the violin, grunted Ravi. No, Ravi replied to Mridu saying that that's Lally learning the violin, and he grunted. That means he said these words in a anger voice. She will never learn a thing. The music master just goes on playing like a train, whizzing on and on, while Lali's all the time derailing, going completely off track. Now, at this part of the story, third cousin of the Mridu, which is Lali, was introduced here. Then Ravi continues saying that she will never learn anything. Her master plays so beautifully, smoothly as a train going on the track. But Lali always derailing. Here, the word derailing, that means train is going off the track, and she will never learn how to play it right. Okay, my dear students, let us stop for here only for today. In the next class, we will continue for the second part of the lesson. So till then, take care. Bye.